Okay, so we're looking at what happens when a power is negative. Now, let's just start by looking at this thing that's very similar to what we had in the last video. So 3 cubed, that's 3 times 3 times 3. 3 squared is 3 times 3. I did have a space here to write the answer to that, but I may as well. So that one's 27, that one's 9. 3 to the power of 1 is just 3, and we've seen that 3 to the power of 0 equals 1. And remember that that just means we're dividing by 3 to get from one line to the next. Okay, so let's just keep following that pattern. Let's divide by 3 twice more. So 1 divided by 3, well, that's just 1 over 3. So 3 to the negative 1 is 1 over 3. Remember, 3 is the same as 3 over 1. We've flipped it upside down. It's now 1 over 3. Remember, that's got a special name. We saw that when we were multiplying fractions. It's called the reciprocal. Now, if we divide by 3 again, we get 1 over 9. 1/3 divided by 3. Okay, remember, keep the first one, change divide to times, flip the second fraction. Okay, it's 3 times 3. I could write that as 3 squared. Or I can write that as 9. So what we get here is a negative power tells you to flip it. Okay, so one thing we could write on this line is that little rule there. 3 to the negative 2 is the same as 1 over 3 squared. Okay, so negative power means flip it upside down. Instead of 3 over 1, we get 1 over 3. So let's look at some examples of that. Okay, so the first one says to evaluate 5 to the negative 2. So the first thing to deal with is the negative power and flip it. Instead of 5, put 1 over 5 squared. Now evaluate means what is the actual final answer. So instead of negative, we've got a flip, but we've still got the square to deal with. So 5 squared is 25. The answer is 1 over 25. So 3 to the negative 4, the first step is to flip it. So instead of negative, we go 1 over 3 to the 4. Now 3 to the 4 is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, 4 of them. I like to pair it up when there are 4 of them. Those two together make 9. Those two together make 9. 3 times 3 is 9. So we've got 9 times 9, so that equals 81. So this is 1 over 81. 7 to the negative 1, well, that's just like we saw 3 to the negative 1 up here. 7 to the negative 1 is just 1 over 7. I'm not sure why I've got another equal sign there. We don't need that. Okay, let's look at these two algebraic examples. So simplify x to the negative 3. That's the negative means flip it. So 1 over x cubed. And let's just look at this one where we've got a fraction. So the negative means flip it. So the first thing I want you to do is flip it instead of, and then we don't write the negative because we've done the negative. We've still got a square. Okay, and the square's on both the top and the bottom. So the negative means to flip it. We still need to square it. So 4 squared is 16 and 3 squared is 9. Okay, so all of questions 1 and 2 from topic 6.